Hey, Buckaroos, it's Haran. Hey, so here's my thing. You know that I've been struggling with how to get us to be able to modify this Facebook little experiment thing based on sculptors. So actually, I downloaded a new or uploaded a new assignment onto your Google Classroom. It's normally what we do is we'll get into Google Classroom. Hopefully, you have the code to get you into Sculpture. And then you can either go here to this message where it says David Horan posted a new message, a new assignment, Facebook experiment, or I think if we go to classwork, bam, I hit classwork, pow, then we'll see these things. I think I'm going to click on Facebook experiment. I'm assuming, okay, so I click on that. So the difference between this one is it's in a drawing program. You might notice up here indicates a drawing program. At least that's what it is for me. My problem so far is that I can do lots of things with these, but then when I send it out to you guys, you can't. So here's our thing. What I have up in this part of the menu is a text box. So if I decided to go over to this thing, first off, I'm going to enlarge it a bit. I think it's at 50%. I'm going to enlarge it to 100%. So we can see right now that we have number one, a picture of your historical artist. Number two, the artist name. I just chose, if I choose, well, you know what? I'm going to find an artist first. So I could go from these names here. I think these are really good. And one of the reasons I chose these is because there's going to be less nudity. There's sometimes we can find, well, you know, artists, especially, you know, some of the very best ones like Michelangelo, did a lot of nudity. He loved the human body and he used it. That was his thing. So in my search for a sculptor, I want to show you some of the problems that I'm arriving at. I just typed in the word sculptor and arrived at this page. The first one I clicked was this one. It says it's a large 20th century bronze bowl sculpture on custom cement base. As I read down, it says there's no signature, so they really don't know who did this. So that would be very difficult for me to create an appropriate page. I found some of the same things for this. I really love this and I like the style, but as I read down, it looks like this is kind of a thing that you might purchase just at an online place, which means it's probably made in an assembly line of sorts, or you know, it's molded and casted and intended to be you know, a real cheap alternative to a very famous sculpture. As I go through some of these other ones, I might be able to locate something. You know, I think I remember this one. It says the best sculptures of all times, which make me think, yes, I'm already seeing some names here. I'm not going to go much further with this one. I'm fascinated by it. But instead, what I did, well, I want to show you. This one I know is a Michelangelo, and it's absolutely wonderful. There's some really fun things about it. This one I think is an old Greek one, perhaps the Dying Gaul, and or Roman. I think it's Greek. The problem there is that they didn't keep very good records either. There's a few sculptors. I believe the main one is called Praxiteles, but we still don't have very good knowledge of him at all. So once again, it would be very difficult to make that. So what I did was I found one after some research. I found one who I liked, Alberto Giacometti. All right, so one thing that I would do is after I chose my artist, in this case it's Alberto Giacometti or Giacometti, I don't know, or something like that. All that I will do is I'm going to copy his name, just like this. I'm going to hit copy, and then I'm going to go back to my initial page. So remember, what we want to do is under number 2, we want the artist name. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to make a text box right where that is. Paste. Now, I'm not going to worry so much if things are too big or too small. I could even make this text box bigger. I wonder if I can make this font a little bit bigger. I'm going to try it for giggles. Yeah. And so as long as I'm not obscuring anything else, I think this could be good. So I still can format my font in that way. Now, here's the next thing. If I look at number 1, it says I need a picture of the historical artist. So here's what I'm going to do. I go to Insert Image, and when I click that, it says, can I upload it from the computer or from the drive or any of those, or search the web? I'm just going to put search the web. And as you see over here, I've already searched Alberto Giacometti portraits, Shebang, Papao, and then all of these things came up. So I have a number of drawings and paintings and indeed even photographs of him. And so I think what I'm going to do is the ones that I know are him, I'm going to go ahead and just select those. I just clicked on that one. I hit Insert and Papao. There it is. So now what I'm going to do, I have to size it down to fit basically into that space. Once again, it doesn't have to go perfectly. And I wonder if I can crop this, because I think if I crop this image, I can bring this side in, shebang. I think it's cool to have him at his sculpture table, but I don't necessarily need him. I click off here, and now I can size again, and mine allows me to, it does everything. Well, it doesn't distort the image. Okay, does that make sense so far? I can then keep going where the artist spent most of his life. Now, in a case like this, I'm going to have to get in here, and the whole purpose of this assignment is I want you guys to research the artist. So then as I read through these things, some of the things I found interesting, I'm going to skip the one that we're on, but I'm thinking about some of the posts I want to do, and I found out he was into surrealism. And remember, we studied, that was my drawing class. We studied surrealism, existentialism. So he was really into philosophy, and surrealism has a lot to do with psychology. As I went down, I found some quotes of his, and I think that I'm going to mine one of those quotes. I'm going to take one of those, because then that would be a perfect thing for me to put into his Facebook posts. So I'm going to take an actual quote from him, and they're interesting, complex, intellectual. I rediscovered the wish to make composition with figures. For this, I had to make quickly, I thought in passing, 1 or 2 studies from nature. I don't know. I might be able to take something. Nothing was as I imagined. A head became for me an object completely unknown. Anyways, I'm going to grab a random one. This one says, all sculptures of today, like those of the past, will end one day in pieces. So it's important to fashion one's work carefully in its smallest recess and charge every particle of matter with life. This isn't my favorite quote. I found some earlier that I liked better, but here I am. So once again, I can just copy this. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to find out where I do that. Write a comment. The artist might post about his work. And that was number 7. I don't know. So number 10. So I might be able to, once again, go to my text box and I can go ahead and make a box, and then maybe I could paste it in there. I actually think there's better ones I want to do, but I'll leave that there for now, because I think sometimes we can be funny with this.